Welcome back to another episode of Legacy Battle. I'm Michael Adams, my panelist tonight from the Gridiron Battle Zone, Brian King. So Steelers Nation South, Rollo Coughlin. And joining us here in a few minutes, we're going to have the newest member of the LPGA Tour, Nicole Felci. Our special guest tonight, we are joined by a current Champions Tour caddy, Champions Tour, formerly the Senior Tour, in case anyone was wondering there. He's been doing it since 2012, so, 14 years now on it. He also had 2 prior years there in the 90s. So we want to welcome Derek Sanders. Derek, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Excellent. As always, we're going to have a Q&A after tonight's debate for Derek about his career and some things that he's been doing. Our debate tonight is the best U.S. golf course. So I know we've done the majors and had that discussion, but today we're talking about the actual course itself. And we are going to start with Brian. Brian, what course you got?
All right, I got Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach is located about 2 hours roughly south of San Francisco, California, on the Monterey Peninsula, overlooking the Carmel Bay. It's regarded as one of the most picturesque golf courses in the world. It's got the beautiful view of the bay and the rugged Pacific coastline. Golf Digest once named it the #1 golf course in America. Pebble Beach was originally built back in 1919 and was designed by 2 championship golfers, Jack Neville and Douglas Grant. And in 1998, another golf legend, Jack Nicklaus, redesigned the 5th hole of the course. Over the years, Pebble Beach has hosted the U.S. Amateur Tournament 5 times, the Women's U.S. Amateur twice, the PGA Championship once, the U.S. Open 6 times, and the Women's U.S. Open once. And it is scheduled to host the U.S. Open another 4 times in the next 20 years, and the U.S. And the Women's U.S. Open 3 times in the next 25 years. The course also hosts the annual AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, which has been going on since 1933. It was once known as the Bing Crosby Pro-Am, named after the legendary singer. In 2024, Wyndham Clark was the winner of that event, and it won him $3.6 million. And the overall purse was a whopping $20 million, which was double what it was in 2023. A few other greats who have won at this amazing course: Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Payne Stewart, Davis Love III, of course, Jack Nicklaus, and the inaugural event was won by the great Sam Snead. So Pebble Beach, it's an absolutely beautiful, iconic course with a very rich history.
So, Derek, we come to you about this course, the Cliffs of Doom, holes 8 through 10. Those are pretty rough holes to play on. So, what are your thoughts on this course and the beautiful picture there behind Brian? That's just a wonderful, beautiful area out there.
You know, it's funny. I was looking at that picture and thinking of places that I've walked and, okay, I know where that green is. I know where my player hit that shot. Okay, I remember. Then you go to a certain other hole and, oh, that's where we hit it in that bunker. But Pebble Beach is the most iconic golf course in America. The history there is just unbelievable. Unfortunately, we get to play it. The PGA Tour plays it in February or January. We get lucky and play in September, and it's in the best shape. The weather's always perfect. The scenery's outstanding. It's just a great place. I love it. I love going there. It's one of those places. It's kind of like Vegas. I can't wait to get there, and I can't wait to leave because I can't afford
It
Absolutely. And being out there on the water, I mean, what's the wind like coming in over there?
You know, it varies. It's not really that bad in September, but I've been there in early in the year, back in February, and then you could be hitting 5-iron on that iconic number 7th hole. Wow. And then we're always hitting sand wedges and maybe a gap wedge if it's into the wind. It plays 105, 110. So wind can pick up.
Well, we're going to move on to our next course, and I'm representing that one. It is Augusta National in Augusta, Georgia, par 72. Opened in 1932 and has hosted the Masters since 1934. Designed by Bobby Jones and Clifford Roberts. Of course, everybody knows Bobby Jones. 365-acre course. Formerly was a plant nursery before it was a golf course. And each of the 18 holes are named after a tree or a shrub. So it's a pretty interesting fact there. But the greens are hard and fast, and the sand traps, they're not sand, they're actually spruce pine. So I always thought it was a little easier to get out of that stuff than it is the actual sand, but that as a professional, we'll get Derek's opinion on that in a second. But it said that more changes have been made throughout the years to that course than any top 20 course in the world. Some things that it's known for, it has a short rough known as the second cut, which reduces a player's ability to control the halt coming out of a lie. We got Race Creek, which is the 11th through 13th holes, and then Amen Corner, which goes from the 11th to 13th holes as well. We got the Eisenhower Tree, which was actually removed in 2014, and then more on the 17th hole, more balls have hit that tree, that Eisenhower tree, before they removed it than Cosmo Kramer has put in the ocean. So that should tell you how many balls have hit that. So obviously, Derek, Augusta is known for the Masters and the green jacket, but the course itself, it's got some tricky plays here and there. So what are your thoughts on Augusta?
My favorite golf tournament of the year. Of all majors, it's my favorite because we all know it so well. Even though, and I can say I've caddied there, but I never have. I've only been to Augusta one time to see the golf course with my eyes. I was one of those idiots growing up that said, I'm never going unless I'm playing or caddying. Well, a little quick story. Back in one of Watson's caddy came up to me, and Tom Watson's caddy comes up to me and says, I heard a rumor that you've never been to Augusta. And I said, no. He says, you're an idiot. And I said, I know. And I was 50 years old, and I get 2 tickets in the mail from Tom Watson with a letter saying, Derek, you can send these tickets back to me or you can use them. But if you do use them, you need to write a hand letter back to me explaining your first visit to Augusta. So my first visit, I went and walked the whole golf course and came back, sat there had my chair on number 10 because I wanted to see how far it was down from 10 back down to the fairway. And it's amazing. You hear all the stories that you don't believe how that dog leg off of 10 is. But people don't realize when you come back up 18, you've played all those golf courses, the whole golf course. Now you come back up 18. I think that hill, in my opinion, was steeper than going down 10. It's amazing how the elevation of that golf course is. And you can sit there on number 10 and just listen to the crowd. The patrons. And they can tell you what's going on around the golf course. It's beautiful.
And just to what I said earlier, is there any difference between sand and spruce pine when you're trying to hit out of the bunker?
I've never heard of the spruce pine. That's a new for me.
Okay.
So you've taught me something tonight, which is nice.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's move on to our next course, and it's one for that a lot of us we all live pretty close to. Brian, Rollo, and myself. So Rollo, give us Oakmont.
Oakmont, located just outside the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was designed, opened 121 years ago in 1903 by Henry Founds. It basically has no water hazards and no trees. It's generally regarded as one of the hardest courses to play. U.S. Golf Association rated the 5th hardest course to play, and golflink.com ranks it number 3. It's noted for its fast slopes, and the par on the course is 71. One of the most famous hazards in Oakmont and probably the world is the church pews located between the 3rd and 4th greens. The Tiger Woods in 2007 said he would not even practice on church pews, saying he does not practice negativity. It is one of the hardest to play and one of the most beautiful places to play, even though there's not very many hazards and there's no trees. It's very, very open and very fast. So this is why Oakmont is one of the best. And it's hosted 9 U.S. Open, which is more than any other course, and it's also going to host another one in 2025. It's hosted 3 PGA tours. So this is one of the best courses because it's just outside the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
It's a par 70 too, isn't it?
No, it's a par 71.
71. Okay. Okay. Derek, it's been used for the U.S. Open several times. It's a beautiful course up there on top of the hill. What are your thoughts on Oakmont?
Oakmont is probably one of the most difficult golf courses I've ever played in my life. You start on number 1, and the caddy there says, let's just say you have 160 yards in. He says you might want to hit pitching wedge. And I said, I can't hit my pitching wedge that far. You need to land it about 10 yards short, and it bounces off the green. And if you're past the hole, you want to be putting back up the hill. One of the most difficult starting holes in a major that I remember. Then you go to the church pews, and if I remember right, they started off with the designer, Mr. Phone, designed that golf course years ago, 19, back in the early 1900s. And whoever flew that bunker, one of the church pews, if he flew it over the left bunker on 3, he added another one. And for somebody later they came in and somebody flew that, they put another bunker there. So that's how the church pews got that many bunkers, because Mr. Phone loved to put bunkers everywhere. So if somebody flew that bunker, that's why it's church pews, because there's so many bunkers. It's the story that I was told. But we've got a lot of great champions. Ernie Els, Cabrera, Mahaffey, I believe, won the PGA there. Sarazen. So I think Steve Melnick won the U.S. Amateur there years ago, back in the late 60s. So just an iconic golf course. And of course, me being a PGA member, one of the great icons, golf professionals, of Doug Ford over there. So ran a great golf course, and just phenomenal golf course.
And just a little side story there. My grandmother went to the PGA Tour event there and got to hug the great Phil Mickelson lefty. So that made her day. So just throw that out there. Well, we're going to move on to our final one. And I see Nicole here has joined us. And let's see, she has TPC Sawgrass.
Hi, guys. Yeah, sorry I'm late.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, I have Sawgrass, which I've personally been to, and it's amazing. It's in Jacksonville, Florida, near Jacksonville. And it's hosts the Players, which is, I think, the 5th major. It hosts it since 1982, so it's been there for a while. There's actually 2 courses there, the Stadium course and Dyes Valley course. So the tournament's played on the Stadium course. It's kind of funny. So I read up on this and I didn't even think it was true. So it's 418 acres of land used for both courses, and it was purchased in 1978 for only $1, which is crazy. Wow. It's ranked number 1 on Golf Advisor in 2017, top 10 courses in the U.S. And obviously it's known for hole 17, which is extremely iconic. And hole 17 was an idea by Pete Dye's wife, Alice Dye, which I think is so cool, because I'm like that she had a say in that. There's 802 balls when the tournament started since 2002 in the water on 17. So that just tells you how hard of a hole it is. And I've seeing it in person, it looks really difficult. I haven't had a chance to play it, and it's on my bucket list. And the PGA Tour, which I thought was really cool, has 11 cameras during the tournament play on 17. So really, I think it's one of the more iconic courses on tour, especially. And it's just a really cool track. And it's cool because hole 17 is down the stretch, and it kind of can change the perspective of the leaderboard really fast if something happens on 17.
I believe that I think it's around 45%. Only 45% of the pros actually hit the green on that hole.
Yeah,
which is
very small percentage.
Exactly, extremely low.
And
number.
even the drop, if you drop it, it's still a hard shot. Right. So, and that course, the entire course itself is tough, and it's a really interesting track. Like just walking it, you can tell it's like very undulated. The greens are really undulated, and it's a tough course. And that's why I think it's good to say the Players is the 5th major, because that course kind of feels like you're at a major.
So Derek, it's got one of the hardest holes in golf. What are your thoughts on TPC?
I think it's the greatest finishing holes of a golf tournament that's not a major. But it should be a major, like Nicole. It's the 5th major. 16 par 5, reachable for the long hitters. It's just very risk reward. If you're 3 shots back, you got to still have a chance to tie and possibly win. And then if the wind's blowing, 17 can be the most trickiest hole on the golf course. Anywhere from a pitching wedge to an 8-iron if the wind's howling back into your face. And then you go to 18, and it's probably the most difficult drive on the golf course. You hit driver down the left side is where you need to go. Long guys these days are hitting 3-woods down the left side. And if you hit 3-wood down the right side, you're blocked out by the trees coming in. So that's just the finishing. That's not even talking about the beginning. Again, I mean, it's a 7,200-yard golf course, if I'm not mistaken. I think the course record is 62 by Tom Hogue, and that was done recently, and maybe last year or a year before. And it's just you look at all the major all the people that's won that golf tournament. Even from '95, you had Lee Jansen, and you get Fred Couples, you got Davis Love, Justin Leonard, just some of the guys that are out on the Champions Tour that you look back and then all of a sudden you get a guy that's never won a major, Paul Goydos, who had a chance to win there until Sergio beat him on 17. So in the playoffs. So it's just one of those golf courses that you tune into to see that golf course, because it's the same golf course and you always want to watch it. And to go back to number 17, where his wife designed the golf course, I was told that she gets to pick one hole on every golf course he designed. And that was, like you said, Nicole, that was her course, her hole. But she designed one golf hole on every golf course that he does.
Well, let's move into our vote. Cannot pick your own tonight. I'm gonna start this out. So I'm gonna leave my my bias out and not take Oakmont, even though it would be my favorite. I was torn between TPC and Pebble Beach. I think Sawgrass may be a little harder of a course, but I think Pebble Beach is like the most beautiful course I've seen. I only see it on TV, but it just looks absolutely incredible. So I'm going to take Pebble Beach. Brian.
Well, to me, I mean, they're all difficult. They're all beautiful. They're all iconic. But the one thing that separates them all is Augusta got the major, got the Masters. So I got to go with Augusta.
Okay, Nicole.
I'm also going to go with Augusta. It's just too iconic, but I do love Pebble Beach and Oakmont a lot. But yeah, Augusta is my pick for sure.
Rollo.
See, I'm torn. Augusta's too easy. It's the Masters. It's, that's just too easy. So I'm torn between Sawgrass and Pebble Beach. Like you said, Pebble Beach is probably one of the most beautiful courses in the world, not just here in America. Pebble Beach.
Pebble Beach. So Derek, we come to you. You can pick any of the 4.
Well, I've only been to Augusta one time. I'm going to throw that one out the window because we don't ever get to play it. But if you want to go watch, you're more than welcome. Oakmont is one of the hardest golf courses I've ever played. Bent grass greens, the fastest greens that I've ever been on in my life. TPC, Bermuda greens, hard to putt, hard to read. And then you got Pebble Beach with the Poana greens. You get out first in Pebble, it's the greens are fantastic. Later in the evening, if you get out, it's bumpy. But I can sit there and go out to Pebble Beach and just never play golf and just sit out there and walk around 7 and the back 9 catch those cliffs. And I love Pebble Beach. It's my favorite golf course in the United States and always will be.
All right, that's 3 for Pebble. So a win for Pebble Beach tonight. Brian, you got the win. Start us out with our Q&A, then we'll go Nicole, Rollo, me.
All right. So, Derek, I'm wondering if you could put one player in the Golf Hall of Fame who isn't in it yet, who would you choose and why?
That's a good question because there's a few people out there. I'm going to give you 3 names right off the top. Corey Pavin. You got Lee Jansen, two-time U.S. Open winner, and a TPC winner. And then you have David Toms, who's got 13 wins with the PGA. And I'm biased with the LSU, so I'm going to pick David Toms.
There you go.
Okay, so what was the best round you were on the bag for someone? Best round you've seen as a caddy?
I'm going to go the first 7 holes with Brad Faxon. 7 under through 7 holes. And our walking scorer comes up and taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Hey, Derek, you know y'all are 7 under through 7." And I said, "Yes, I know that. Are you familiar with a pitcher throwing a no-hitter?" He goes, "Yeah." Don't ever say anything to the pitcher, so keep it quiet. And of course, we bogeyed 8. So, but the first 7 holes were fantastic. It was outstanding, but the best round I've seen was when we won the U.S. Senior Open with Gene Sowers. It was great finish.
That's awesome.
Tell us about your finest round of golf. Where were you? What course were you on? And why was it your finest round of golf?
You're talking about me playing or caddy?
Yeah, you played.
So this is back in 1997. I was a PGA professional. I was an assistant golf professional. And it's kind of a little bit emotional story because I knew the kid. He had just signed a full scholarship to Ole Miss, and I was playing in the section event at La Triomphe in Louisiana. And the second round, and somebody came up to me right before I teed off, and I had a 3-shot lead. And they asked me the guy's name. Do I remember the guy's name? And I said, yes. He said, well, he was killed in a car accident last night. He flipped his car over. So now I got to hit a tee shot. So I barely hit it in bounds. So I think I played that golf that day around the golf kind of like in a blah. Don't remember much about it, but it was a 61 and I won by 12.
Wow.
Impressive. So we're just talking Augusta a little bit ago with the major being there. You caddy currently on the Champions Tour, which has 5 majors: the Tradition Senior PGA Championship, U.S. Senior Open, Senior Players Championship, and the Senior Open Championship. So of those, do you have a favorite? And like, which I guess they're all came in around the same time period of 1980. So other than the Senior Championship, that says 2003. But so what's your favorite one for the Senior Tour?
Well, I'm going to have to say the U.S. Open because I've got that flag hanging on my wall. And it was at Scioto, Columbus, Ohio, where Jack Nicklaus grew up playing. So we got rained out on Sunday. Didn't get to play on Sunday. And August 15th was that Monday, which was my birthday. And Gene Sowers had a putt on for 5-footer on the last hole to win the U.S. Open. And I stood behind him and he says, "Hey, what do you think?" And I looked around the other side and I saw it going right, and I come back to the other side and I see it going left. And hopefully, Nicole, you can use this because Brad Faxon told me this. He says, "Hey, if you ever see a putt that goes left from one side and right the other way, always play it straight." And I told Gene, I said, "Gene, Fax told me if it looks left from the other side and it's right from here, just play it straight. You made a million of these in your life. Knock this SOB in." And he made it. And so I'm going to have to say the U.S. Open, Senior Open.
Excellent.
That's great.
Same order, guys. One more each.
So, Derek, you're probably the best person to ask this. I've always kind of wondered, and I know it might be a little difficult to quantify, but how much impact does a good or a bad caddy have on a golfer? I mean, does an average golfer become below average with a bad caddy or above average with a good caddy?
I guess the best way to say it is, are you a good husband? Is she a good wife? Or if you're married, it's a girlfriend or whatever. Because
Right.
that's basically what it is. I am with him on the golf course more than he's with his wife per day.
Mhm.
So I'm a psychiatrist, I'm a meteorologist, I'm a mathematician. I'm trying to you wear all the hats. And if it's easy to caddy for someone that shoots 65, 64, 60. That's an easy job. What's tough is when a guy's shooting 73, 72, 71, because now he or she is in a position now that things aren't going the way they want them to, or you want them to. So you can't get emotionally high, you can't get emotionally low. So I always try to stay pretty even kill, whether he's shooting 65 or if he's shooting 75. But it's you try to keep him. You say some small things to help him. If he's missed 2 fairways in a row and he's met par bogey, I said, okay, let's hit one good shot in a row. Let's go, and just get them out of the negative part and get back to thinking what they need to do. Hopefully, I answered your question.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What's the biggest thing you learned about a player-caddy relationship? Because it kind of follows up with Brian's question, but it's very important, as you said. And so what's the biggest thing that you've learned along the way?
To shut up. Don't overpay.
Yeah.
You can open your mouth and say things, and it's like, why did I say that? Why did I just say that? But don't answer any questions unless they ask. I've caddied for probably about 8 to 10 guys on the Champions Tour, and every one of them's different. But then again, everyone's the same. The personalities are a lot different. There's caddies before I just carried the bag, and they just give them the numbers. But for the most part, I just try to keep my mouth shut unless I'm asked a question.
I love it.
Now, if we're walking down the fairway, now we're talking about baseball. We'll talk about football. It depends on what season we're in. We'll talk about movies or something like that. But once we get about 15, 20 yards from the ball, it's strictly business then.
Mm-hmm.
So, who are 4 past or present golfers that you didn't caddy for that you would love to have caddied for, or you would love to caddy for? 4. Your Mount Rushmore.
Let's go. Of course, Tiger Woods. I'd love to caddy for Tiger. I think it'd be great. I'd love to see what he's done, what he can do in person. We've been paired with him a few times when I was on the regular tour when he first came out in '96. I think it'd be pretty cool to caddy for Ernie Els, the Big Easy. He's very kind of a very lovable guy, but I know he's got some fire in there that he'll say some things that you probably don't want to hear, and just like all of them. Caddied for Woody Austin for 6 years, and Woody was probably by far one of the best guys that I've ever caddied for, on and off the golf course. If we all know Woody, he has his issues on the golf course of breaking putters over his head and falling in the lake at the President's Cup. But on and off the golf course, he was one of my favorites. And then one I did caddy for was David Toms. I really enjoyed working for him just because he was a friend. We've known each other since junior golf, and just a class guy.
So we were talking about this a little bit before we started the show tonight. In 2017, you were trying to qualify for the PGA Tour up there at Quail Hollow. How close did you get, and how good are you? Is there times where you feel like you're better than the person you're caddying for?
What was that Toby Keith song? Not as good as I once was. But so I was a PGA professional working at Director Golf at English Turn in New Orleans, other clubs in the Gulf States section. And back then, 10, 15 years ago, if we won our section event or we won a major tournament in our section, we got to qualify for either the web.com, Corn Ferry, whatever you want to call it now, or a PGA Tour event. So I've played in 10 or 11 to 12 web.com, Nationwide, Nike, Corn Ferry, those events, and I played in 3 PGA Tour events. And I am 0 for whatever. I've yet to make a cut. So to play in at Quail Hollow I wasn't even close. I'm one of those guys that get out there and I play golf. If I have a good round, then I'll throw up on myself the next day, and just not a lot of confidence because I don't get to do it enough. So tournaments, if you're trying out and you're trying to play golf in a golf tournament and you want to go to that next level, it's a grind. You've got to keep grinding, and you've got to it's all about how you feel under the pressure and who you're playing with. So if you go out and you're playing on a Corn Fair event and you've played well out there numerous times, you're going to do well out there. Then all of a sudden you get your battlefield promotion and you go to the PGA Tour. And now you're starting to play against Scotty Schefflers, and back then it was the Tiger Woods. You might not feel that you belong out there, but that's when you've got to believe in yourself that, you know what, I still shoot the scores these guys do, but they're doing it in tournaments, and you've got to learn how to do it for yourself. So it's and I never learned that. I guess I wasn't mentally strong enough to do it. And plus I never had the opportunity to play in enough of them to feel comfortable.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Derek, and I want to wish you good luck this week in your tournament out there in Arizona as well.
Well, I appreciate it. And Jason Caron's a super nice guy, and maybe he can be on my top 5 instead of top 4 next.
There you go. I remind everybody, hit that like, subscribe, notification button. We'll see everybody next time. Have a great night.